everyone, Chelsea here from Sew Simple Home. We've got another great sewing project for you today. We are making an old school fanny pack. These can also be kind of crossover body bags. I made this pattern because we went on a trip as a family to Florida recently, and I wanted something that we could, put our snacks in, our tickets, our phones, all of those things, so they were all in one place. It was small enough that it held what we needed without me having to have a big bulky bag. It is lined. It has a big inner pocket, and then it has a nice little outside pocket, which I ended up putting my cell phone in most of the time, so I had easy access to it for photos and whatnot. I put on a nice closure. So this is what we're going to make today. I know it looks a little bit intimidating. I promise you it's actually a lot simpler than you think. So let's go ahead and get our supplies ready. So the supplies you're going to need for this project, you're going to need 2 fat quarters. I had this fun pack here of different prints that I got from my Annie's Quilts club, and I just picked a pink and a yellow that kind of go together but are contrasting. You can match it up a little bit more if you want. It's totally up to you. This one's going to be for my daughter, so it's kind of fun to have some different colors. You're going to need 2 zippers. I have a separating zipper that I'm going to put at the top, and then you're going to need just a regular zipper for your pocket. Okay, just kind of a lightweight zipper for the pocket. The top I did a separating zipper because it grips a little bit better, but again, it's totally up to you. This one's 14 inches, and then I believe this one is a 16 inch. This is actually big. You could get away with a 14 inch, maybe even a 12 inch for the little pocket zipper. That's kind of up to you. Then you will also need some webbing. So I got this pack from Amazon, and it is a 1-inch webbing. It's nice and thick. This is what you're going to use for your straps. And then this package also comes with the buckles that you need. So you'll need one of the buckles. Let's get one out here. And then probably 2 of these straps, or excuse me, probably 2 of these. You could get away with one. These are what makes it so it's adjustable. So if you only have one, only one side of your fanny pack will adjust and the other side won't. So that's kind of up to you. I will say with Joann Fabric closing a lot of their stores and going bankrupt, finding stuff like this is a little bit harder at the fabric store. I went and it was kind of a struggle. That's why on my first one here, I have this, it's gray versus the black that would match my webbing. So check online. There's lots of different sources online. Like I said, I got this one on Amazon. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to grab some for yourself. All right, so that's kind of supplies-wise what you need. Now, for the pattern, you have several pieces. And like I said, I'm not going to give you any dimensions on these just because there's just a lot of pieces. Okay, so just head over to the link down in the description. At the end of the blog post, there's a peach colored button. Just click that and it'll take you over to the pattern. So we're cutting. I've already cut and I've already applied interfacing to all of my pattern pieces to cut off time. This is probably the most time consuming part of the entire process. So the first thing that I'm going to actually start with is I'm going to get my webbing and my webbing casings, I guess we could call them, ready. So I have these, and I'm just going to put 2 of them together and 2 of them together so that they're mirror of each other. And then I'm going to place them into my sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch down this diagonal line and then this straight line here. So I'm just going to press them just a little bit, and then we're going to turn them right side out. Just like that, and press. And like I said, these are going to be kind of the casings on the side for our webbing for our straps. So we're just pressing that so they're nice and flat and everything looks good. Okay, so they kind of look like this. There's two of them, so they should, one for each side. This piece right here, the thin side, I'm going to fold back about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch and press, and do the same on the other side here and press. Okay, so that's kind of what they look like to start with. Now I'm going to take my webbing. Like I said, I have this long piece of it, and I'm going to 2 pieces, and I want them both to be about 26 inches long. And again, this is just what I find to be a good amount. You can change it for yourself if you feel like you need a little bit more room to move. You can make them a little bit bigger. You can always start with them a lot longer and then come back and trim them down to something that works better for you. So if you feel like you have a bigger bust or your waist is bigger and you want to add, you know, a little bit more length, that's fine too. But 2 pieces at 26 inches each should work pretty well. Okay, so what we're going to do is this webbing is going to go inside this casing, and we're going to stitch it down because this casing is going to be stitched to our fanny pack. And this is just going to give it a little bit extra strength. So as we're moving it around or opening and closing or buckling or whatever, we can have access to what we need to without everything falling apart. So I'm going to slip one of these webbings into my casing here, just like this. You can see the webbing's over here. I'm going to have it stick out just a tiny bit, and I'm going to stitch that down, just base stitching it across basically, just to keep that webbing in place. Okay, so you can see that right there. It's going to stay in place. And now I'm going to top stitch here, I'm going to top stitch here, and then I'll top stitch down here. So kind of a little triangle. I'm going to put my needle down and turn, go across that webbing. I'm actually going to go across it a couple of times just to make sure it has a lot of strength. And then I'm going to come back and go across the bottom. So it's going to look something like this. Now, if you wanted to, just to really make sure that webbing doesn't go anywhere, you could also stitch across here. You could do an X. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and put an X across my sections, just again to add a little strength and help that webbing to stay in place. Bags get a lot of wear and tear, so anytime you can add a little bit more to give it a little extra strength, that's great. So there's one. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my other strap. Again, the same thing. I'm just going to tuck this inside, line it up on the base here, and we're going to stitch around. There are my 2 casings for my webbing. Now before we move on, I would highly recommend that you either burn or melt the bottom or the raw edge of your webbing. Otherwise, it will start to unravel. Now sometimes, depending on your webbing, if you have a hot iron, you can put it on the base of your iron and it will melt. This particular webbing is not melting, which is fine. So I have a little bit of fray check that I'm just going to put on the bottom, and it will have time to dry while I'm working here, and so that will help stop some of the fraying. If you don't have fray check, you can just burn the bottom with a match or a lighter, and you just put it on the base of it and it will burn. Now I'm going to put a little on this raw edge over here and this one as well, just for safekeeping. It's not necessary if you have stitches, but you know, bags get a lot of wear and tear, so I'm just going to be safe. So I'm going to set these aside and let them dry for a bit while we work on the next step. The next step we're going to need our pocket zipper and our tabs for our pocket zipper. Now, this zipper doesn't have to be extremely long. This zipper here, you can see, is much longer than my pocket pieces here, and that happens. And I can still use this zipper. So what I'll do is I'll place one here and stitch over it and then fold it. So that will end up being the end of the zipper. And then depending on how far I need to make this one, it's going to be the same way. So for this zipper, it needs to be, if we measure our pocket across here, it's about 8.5 inches across. So we're going to make our zipper just a little bit longer than that. So let's start with the end here. So I'm going to place this over the top, and I'm just going to sew straight across. Okay, so it looks like this. Then I'm going to fold this back, and I have kind of this finished edge here. So that's what's going to end up being sewn to the pocket front and back. Okay, it's just an easier way, and it makes it so everything kind of meshes together. Now, because I don't need this zipper this long, I'm actually going to shorten it. And to do that, I'm going to open my zipper here to about right there. And I'm going to place this about where I need to stitch it, in the middle. And I'm going to pin it to my zipper, like that. So now I know this is about where I need to stitch across my zipper. You can kind of see that. So I'm going to stitch about right here across my zipper. All right, we got our zipper sewn up, our 2 tabs on either side. It opens and closes just the way we want it. So a couple things to think about before we attach the zipper to the pocket. On your bag, you need to decide which way you want your zipper to open. Now, I wear my bag on my left shoulder, so it kind of goes diagonal. And what I found is I'd rather have the zipper up here so I can unzip it faster. If you wear it the opposite direction on your right shoulder, then it being on this side would probably work. So for this one, I'm actually going to have the zipper on the right side here for wearing on my left shoulder. If you want to wear it on your left shoulder or your right shoulder, then you might flip the zipper. Just a thought. You also want to set up your machine if you have a zipper foot. Now's a good time to put it on. If you don't, that's okay. Just move your needle all the way to the left. We're going to take the top of our front pocket and place it in the center of our zipper, one side of our zipper. Okay, so it's just going to match up the raw edge of the pocket piece to the raw edge of the zipper, and we're just going to stitch it in place. And since I put it on my needle all the way over, as long as everything's lined up, it should stitch pretty close, if not all the way over to my zipper. Now, when you get to this point, you might open your zipper, let everything lay flat again, and continue stitching to the other side. Just to make sure everything's lined up and you don't have a weird bump where your zipper was. So we're going to close that up, and then you can kind of see, we press it above here, there's that top of that pocket. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I flip this, matching the bottom side of the zipper, making sure our edge of the bottom of the pocket matches the edge of the top of the pocket. I am going to open this zipper just so things are going to lay flat for me, and place it in, stitch. So all the way down. I'm going to stop when I get to the head of my zipper, move that up, put my needle down again, and keep sewing. Now you'll notice that my zipper tabs are longer than my pocket, and that's okay, because we can trim those down so that all of the pocket is even, and that's what we want. Okay, so to do that, we can take our main piece here and we kind of line everything up, and we can just trim. And if our pocket's not perfect, like this one's a little bit wonky at the top here, my cutting wasn't perfect, which is all right, but I'm just going to cut those extras off so things can match a little bit better. And there is the front pocket of my fanny pack. Step, we are going to take one of our fanny pack main pieces and place our pocket piece over the top of that. So it's going to be 2 layers here, and this we're going to stitch around so that when we open our zipper, everything doesn't go into the fanny pack, it goes into that special little front pocket. So we're just going to pin this in a couple spots so these 2 layers are together. Make sure everybody lines up. And then we're just going to stitch around the outside. You can do a long basting stitch, that's fine. Just so those 2 layers are together. So those 2 layers are together, and we are good to go. The next thing that you're going to need are your 2 bag zipper pieces and your separating zipper. So I'm going to pull this off. So here's my zipper and my 2 pieces. We are just going to stitch them the same way we did the other piece or the other zipper. We can actually open this. It's a separating zipper, so we could actually separate it and sew it. I'm just gonna go down to here. But I'm gonna put the wrong sides together here. stitch from the top of this down. Press this side open so you can see it a little bit better. And then this one, we're matching on the outside raw edge. So it looks a little bit different, but it's basically the same. Looking on this other side, we're gonna open it up and press. Now you could definitely get a zipper that matches if you can find one. I don't have that, so we're just using this white one, and I think it's kind of fun, it kind of pops. Okay, so that's kind of what it looks like. Now I'm going to top stitch this side down. I'm going to top stitch this side down just to make sure that my zipper doesn't get caught on this material as I'm using it. That's also something we could have done on the other zipper, is top stitch these pieces down. It's too late now because I've sewn it to this other layer, but you could definitely top stitch those sections down as well so that they don't get caught on your zipper. So that's kind of what it looks like at this point. Now we're going to take our large base, just the pink one, and we're going to attach these pieces. So I have extra zipper here. I'm just lining this up to the raw edge of my pink pieces here at my zipper. And then at the top here, I'm just, again, lining it up at the raw edge. I'm actually going to open my zipper just so these two can get closer together. Like that. So it looks a little funky. So this is the bottom piece we just pulled out. This is the zipper piece. Okay, and now we're just going to stitch those layers together at about a 1/2 inch. We're going to stitch right over that zipper. That'll help keep the zipper in place all the way to the other side. Cut my threads here. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. At about a 1/2 inch, stitch across over the zipper and to the other side. Kind of look like this. We can trim that extra zipper off here and anything up here. Get rid of a little bit of that bulk. So this is what it's looking like. So now it's a round piece, which is great because it's time to attach that to our pocket we just made. Now again, you want to think about how you're going to open your bag as to what side you want your zipper on. I'm going to have them both on the same side. On this bag, they were the opposite because I wasn't thinking about it. So this one's on this side, this one's on this side. I want them both on the same side. Okay. Now I'm going to find the center here. So if I fold all this in half, we're looking for the center, which is about right here. So I'm going to find the center and pin my bag to the center up here. And then the center of the back side here. So here's the back side, kind of the center. And that's just going to help me make sure that the rest of the zipper all fits along the pouch. So now I'm just gonna kind of go around and do the best I can in getting some pins in place so everything matches all the way around. And you're gonna have to do some easing into your rounded edges and whatnot, and that's okay. It's gonna happen. It's just part of the process. So when you first pin it, you might be like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's gonna work. It seems like it's not gonna fit. I promise it will. With those rounded edges, it makes it seem like it's not the right size, but it is. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's crazy, I know. But you want your zippers on the side to be relatively in the same spot and your top and your bottom to be even so that your pocket isn't like wonky and sideways. So I'm just gonna start on one of these sides where I've sewn my zipper and put it into my machine. I'm gonna use about a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And I'm just gonna start sewing. And as I get to my rounded corners, I'm just using my fingers to carefully ease the fabric as far into those corners as I can get it. And then carefully turn and continue on my way. It's kind of how it looks. See the top and the sides. Okay, now that we've got the top attached to the front, we're going to attach the back, but we also need to attach our straps. So we have 2 straps. They're both going to be attached kind of in the same area towards the top of the back. So I'm going to put, there's the diagonal side and there's the straight side. So the straight side should be at the top. So the side where the zipper's going to be is where you want your straight side. So we're going to kind of fold everything in here in the middle and pin it. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. We want them about a 1/2 inch or so from the top. Pin that down. And then the same thing, get as much of the strap here in the middle so that we don't stitch over the strap while we are placing the back onto our bag. So it kind of looks a little crazy. You can see here, it's a little wonky, but it will work, I promise. Now I've opened up my zipper here a little bit so that I can turn my bag when I'm all done. But again, I want this straight side to be the top by the zipper. So I'm going to match the center and the center on my base here best I can with all of that bulk in there. I know it's not super handy. And then my side here, making sure to get all my layers. And then my opposite side over here, same thing, making sure I get all of those layers close to that side. So it's going to kind of look like this. I'm matching the 2 centers of the sides to the seams on the side and then the center and the bottom. Okay? And now we're going to do the same thing. We just stitch all the way around. Well, there we go. Kind of how it looks to start. And then we've got our 2 straps here. Okay, now let's do the lining. Now the lining's actually really simple because I don't have to do anything with a zipper. So for each of these smaller pieces at 1/2 inch, so when I actually sew these 2 small pieces to this big piece, there's going to be a gap in the middle, and I want that. So I'm just going to match them the raw edges over on this side and stitch across of 1/2 inch. I'm going to do the same thing. Match them to this side over here. So there's a gap, and then stitch them at that 1/2 inch. It's going to kind of look like this. Kind of silly, but that's how it is. Now these 2, the front and the back pieces, I'm just going to fold them in half and fold them in half again. So I kind of know where the middles are and the sides. That way I can attach them a little better. And then this one I'm going to fold in half. So I kind of know where the middle is. So again, I can attach my middle here. And then the base down here. And I can do the same thing with the other side. The middle here. The base middle here. And then I can attach all of the sides where my seam is at. I'm just going to stitch our lining pieces all together. Alright, now we just turn it right side out. And it kind of looks funky, but it works. You're going to see here how that side kind of all comes together. So now we're going to put the 2 pieces together. So we just put our lining inside with wrong sides together. And we're going to match the edge of the lining to the edge of the zippers. So you can kind of see here. So our whole goal with the lining is that it just covers the zipper. Well, maybe not covers the zipper, covers the raw edge next to the zipper. So we're just going around. Finding where that zipper is and lining the lining up with that. And we're going to come on this other side here, line them up. Along this way. Go across. Looks like that. I know, it's a little funky. But now we're going to hand sew. So I went through my zipper and I went through my lining. I'm going to go through my zipper again, just through the zipper. and then I'll go through my lining again. I'm going to keep getting caught on all these pins. Through my zipper and through my lining. The zipper through the lining. And you can kind of see those stitches there. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around. All right, the lining is sewn in. It opens and closes. So now we got to put our buckles on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with one of the end pieces. I'm going to go down. No, excuse me. I'm going to go up like this. And then I'm going to go down. So there's my end piece. And do the same thing on the other side. Up and then down. Like that. Next, I'm going to take my snap here. And you can decide how you want it to snap, you know, which direction, if it matters to you. But I'm going to go, again, I'm going to come up, but I'm going to come up through this farthest one here, like this, and then down this way. You see how I did that? So up through this farthest, and then down through this. Okay, so now I've got, pull this down just a little. So I've got these two tails, if you will, left, and then these. So now I'm going to come back through one of the ends and then down through the opposite side. That. Okay. Same thing on this side. Up through here and then down through this one. I have my two unfinished ends here. Now I personally am going to stitch these. So I'm going to fold it down and I'm going to stitch across and back just to make sure they stay in place. Okay, and you can do it with a black thread versus my pink and white here. But this is just so you can see. But that's going to help it so that it doesn't come back through this loop here. Same thing on this side. That's just, again, to ensure that it doesn't come out. So now I've got all my pieces here. And I can adjust this strap, just kind of pull on it here, adjust it there, I can pull this way, whatever I need to do so that I can make it longer or shorter so it will fit. But there you go. There is your fanny pack. Straps open. Okay, you can put whatever you need to in there. You can fit your glasses case in there. Could put a pin. I got a mint here. It holds quite a bit. You could fit an entire wallet in here if you have a larger size wallet, because my glasses case fits in here. You can fit your cell phone in this front pocket pretty easily, depending on its size, obviously. but you just strap it around you, and you've got this fun little fanny pack that can go around your waist with adjustable straps, or can go across your body. Again, you can adjust it so that it works for you. I hope that this tutorial was helpful for you. Make sure to check out the link down in the description so that you can get the free pattern so you have all the right sizes for your pieces. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see our next video. We have lots of other great videos coming out this year, as well as tons and tons of in our archives that if you enjoy sewing, you will enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and we will see you in our next video.